just wanted to put this little 5-minute video together as a summary of everything that kind of went over class. Actually, it's not going to be everything. It's just going to be a summary of some of the key things. All right, first I wanted to talk through about the top bar here. Remember, I call those the modules. Okay, and all you got to do is right click on one, and it'll make sure everything is checked that you want. If you don't want it, just uncheck it. Okay, library and develop are the two main ones that I use. All right, remember, every time you switch to these, everything around this will change. Okay, and so just be mindful of that. Again, on the library, this is kind of like your Finder or Windows Explorer if you're in Windows, Finder if you're in Mac. Remember, once you do the initial setup and you move everything in one location and you add it, I want you to do everything from then on out in here. If you're going to move images, I want you to move them in here, because once you move them in here in these folders, then it'll automatically be moved on your external hard drive. Okay, so again, very important to use this to move images if you are going to move images. Okay, generally you're just going to import the images to one location. Sometimes you may make a mistake, and that's where you need to change. Okay, now I'm going to go over this really quickly in the library module. These quick develop I rarely use. Again, this is just doing some quick things, but I feel that develop module is equally fast. In fact, maybe even faster, because that's what you're going to use. Keywording, if you want to add keywords, you can tag things with a certain hey, this is a giraffe, outside, family, all that kind of stuff for you to pick up later. Keyless, more keywording, but having lists of different things, so you can choose if you're going to do something all the time and you want to have a list. You type it out, and then let's say you have 10 or 12. You don't have to retype everything. Just by adding that, it'll help you. Metadata, again, a lot of information here. If you want to make a preset, you have those options for metadata. Comments, don't really use that. Develop, okay, so we talked about here is your histogram. Come over here to real image, and then you'll see the histogram here. Okay, I told you that this is shows you if you have your smart preview built. Cropping, these are your tools, right? Cropping, a spot removal, red eye, gradient, and circular gradient, and a brush. Okay, so those are the tools, and I use those a lot. Okay, basic. We talked about this, created my secret sauce. If you wanted to create a preset, basically you get things how you want it. Come over here to the left and create a preset right there. Left clicked on it, create a preset. That brings up a dialog box. Then you select whatever that you want. You don't select all unless well, rarely do you select all. You only want to do the things that you selected in that preset, because sometimes you're going from preset to preset and you don't want to, let's say you have a preset in your basic, you don't want to select tone curve because it's going to overwrite the next thing. So you just do what you want. Okay, then maybe later on you have another preset for tone. Okay, unless, like I told you about the headshots, if I create a preset for that day, then I would select more of everything. But if you're just going to build upon each other, then just select only the things that you did. I begin all my presets with SA, so I know it's mine, and then this is the location of the group. Okay, I'm going to cancel out of this. All right, so that's what we talked about. Remember, we said vibrance is everything that saturation does, except it does not touch skin tones. Okay, if you have an older version of Lightroom, you won't have the dehaze here. About 6 months ago, they moved it here. Okay, Told you to don't worry about curves. You know, I did this whole image about curves. Um, and I mentioned here, yours won't look like this. Yours, if you click on this box here, this is how default it comes. And then you change things, okay? Um, that's how visually you can mess with it and you can try it, okay? Making your darks darker and your whites whiter, stuff like that, okay? I like to click on this box and I like to use custom points. So I kind of bring that up, bring that down. Generally, I do this a lot. And then so you see that little S right there? That's kind of what an S curve is. And then for those of you, I know a couple of you shoot weddings or things like that, you want that matted look. You drag the bottom up. You see that? See how matted that looks? That's definitely like a wedding style. Okay. Again, you can do a whole thing on curves. There's curves. There's so many things you can do. Again, we're in RGB. You can change all that. So very, very powerful. You don't know what to do? Go back here and just hit linear. That's back to normal. Okay. All right. Color. We talked about HSL, color, hue, saturation, luminance. Basically, you can move things around. This is all saturation. This is hue. If you hit color, it's the exact same thing, except it's just laid out a little differently. Okay. Split toning, I said don't worry about this unless you want to do like a sepia kind of image. I do that with black and whites. We're not going to worry about that. That's, you know, more of an advanced kind of feature here. Detail, we talked about, this is how you sharpen, right? This image, if you properly want to sharpen, I'm going to hold down my Alt Option key with my left hand as I drag this masking slider. Everything white is sharpened. So all the black parts, you know, the inside of their coats and their clothes are not being sharpened. The sky, there's no reason to sharpen the sky and add noise. There's no reason for that, okay? Because we're trying to get rid of noise. Here you go. Get rid of some of the noise right there. All right. Lens corrections, basically always have these two checked. Okay, it'll find what camera you're using and all that kind of stuff and make the necessary corrections. If you hit manual, you can do, you know, certain things with the colors and take away some of the defringing. Okay. Transform, basically, if you're going to do architecture, but basically I told you auto works pretty darn good. If we want to do the guided, that's when you draw the lines across. Okay. Effects, this is if you wanted to add more of a vignette, something like that. Okay. Always, if you don't like what you did, either undo by kicking File or Command Z, or edit and undo, or just double click here on the word and it goes back to 0. Any of these menus, if you want to reset something, just double click on it, it'll go back to 0. Grain, if you wanted to add that old look, you know, pump that up and you can see, look how grainy that is, right? So you want to make it look like an old photo, artistic design, that's what you would do. All right, so that's it. Caleb, I told you not to worry about this. This is where, if you wanted to edit in an older version of Lightroom, that's where you do that there. Okay, so you can see the noise is gone. All right, so that covers pretty much all the main things. Again, this is your film strip. By default, for those of you who just installed Lightroom, it'll look like this, right? You click on filter, then it'll pull these out. And these are ways that you can filter. Like I have some that are green. All I hit is my green filter. Now it'll only show me my green. And we're going to go over this next week about what these can help you do. Very powerful. I use them a lot, but that's next week. Okay? Uncheck that. We did talk about soft proofing, right? We have an image here. Remember, it's zoomed in, so I'm going to go back to fit and soft proofing. So I click on soft proofing. You cannot see the transition between because it's 100% white, right? If I were to go to this image here, which is I'm going to reset this. You can see that's the old image. If I were to hit soft proofing now, you can see there's a little gray. All right. I think that pretty much covers a lot of the key information that may have been overwhelming for you in the class. Okay, so anyway, there you have it.